Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of Keep the Mic On. I am simply Sherry. I am your host, and if you one of your hosts, and if you've joined us here at any time in the past 2 years, you know that we have been here every week in conversation with dozens and dozens and dozens of amazing artists. At the end of the year, our last show of the year, which will be this one tonight, we take the time to sit back, reflect on who we talk to, get our any takeaways that we have before we go into 2021, and then exit off to our holiday break. So for this moment, I'm going to right now kick it to the one, the only Girl Genius.
Hey everyone, I am still Girl Genius. Nothing changed over here. Yeah, it's been a very, very interesting year. My segment, if you are not familiar, and we'll do the intro now and get it out the way, is let's talk about the ... Normally it's books, but one of the changes I'm going to try to really dig more into in 2022 is to talk about more than books. We're going to do projects and products, and I want to get some visual artists in here, some musicians and things. And yeah, I'm just super excited. So I am ready to get into this year in roundup. We've had a phenomenal year on this show, our second year. Thank you, Panini, Panini, Panorama, parallelogram, whatever is happening right now. So I, in the interim, am going to kick it over to one of my favorite people poets, Kaniki J.
Hey, Boos. Thank you guys so much for joining us again. Let me just say, this is a perfect opportunity for you to go ahead and tell your people in them, especially the ones who have been missing us all year, that this is the last one for 2021. So go ahead and share this. Let people know that we're here, we're live, and get ready for your comments or compliments or anything that you want to do during this section.
I am the Christmas presents, women, and if you're into Christmas presents, that little thing up there, that's right. That's right.
Yeah,
that little thing up there on that side.
Our cash app,
right there. Yeah, the cash app thing. Feel free to donate to Kitmo Claus. I'm just saying.
Please donate. We can continue in 2022 to keep the mic on. I am Kaniki Jakarta, the first Black Poet Laureate of Alexandria, Virginia. My segment is called Poets and Platforms, where I interview poets who have platforms for the arts. May not necessarily be poetry, but some type of artistic platform. And I do 4th weeks, and it has been a whirlwind of a whole year. Seems like one long year.
It does seem like the last 2 years have been one year.
A long year, right?
Yeah, like I don't know what had happened, but yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I think we had so much excitement about 2021 being better, being maybe a little bit more past the pandemic, being a little bit more. I don't know that we all wanted to quite go back to normal, but being a little bit more free to move. How's that for a sentence?
You would think so, but alas, no.
Alas, no. We are still.
Although we did move some, so we're good. The needle has moved some. We're good.
Yes, yeah. I've been able to have a couple of gatherings and get-togethers and have no one get sick, so that's been a good thing.
Absolutely.
So I always so each of one of us will have a question for everybody to ask, to answer. Let me say it that way, about the year, this about 2021 in Kitmo. So my question will be, what was the biggest takeaway from any of the interviews that we did this year that you may have gotten?
I think that we I don't know how we keep doing it, but the people who we interview are always, when people say this is a masterclass, I don't know how we always get the people who encompasses all of the knowledge that we get. So I think the biggest takeaway is that if you watch the show,
Mhm.
you always get this knowledge that you would have to pay for otherwise. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And I'm taking notes the whole time, and that's why I always say I'm excited about everybody that we're bringing on. We choose some. We have a running list of fantastic people, and then we get fantastic people, fantastic suggestions. So yeah, I think that the biggest takeaway is that if you aren't following us, you should, because you get to know these poets, and we ask the questions that you always wanted to ask, and you get to
We
just
do
sit
we
there and
do
watch.
curate well. We do
Yes.
curate well. We do keep a list, and it's really it's we were talking about this before that even though we curate, like it's hard sometimes to kind of figure out who we want week to week and then make sure that their schedules fit. Um, I think what to answer your question, what I my biggest takeaway from this year is the connection that people are getting from just being on the show.
Hmm.
Considering the reason we started the show in the first place is to make sure that we didn't lose a lot of this stuff because of the pandemic in real life, um, has been amazing. Like it's been nice to have a chat with somebody who I might not have had an opportunity to sit down with in real life because we all have been so super busy. Had
Hmm.
it not been for, had it not been for COVID. Like, oh, I just had an hour and a half long chat slash masterclass with one of my favorite poets in real time, even though we're not in the same room, in real time, in a space that might not have been open had this not happened. So I am grateful for that. And that has been a really big takeaway for me and a big reason why I am very happy that we are continuing this platform.
Um, I'm going to keep my answer brief because our fourth host was a little late, but she's here now. But my answer is, from all the artists that we've had that we've known as poets, how many of them have changed what they're doing? So don't be afraid to pivot. Don't be afraid. Like thinking of how Sekou uses poetry and now does corporate speaking. B. Sharice Moore now is writing novels and YA novels at that. Vision doing the animation, Stiletto now doing makeup artistry. I love that we've had that like small running theme through everybody that's come through here. It's like, yes, I'm a poet, I write poetry, but I also do this.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, let me sec. Let me bring her in. Hey, Charity.
Yo, what's up, beautiful people? How y'all doing?
How you doing? Go ahead and
Good.
introduce yourself to the peoples.
Hey, peoples. Hello, everyone. So I'm trying to make sure I'm logged on Facebook too, so I can have that up. Keep the mic on. Hey, everyone. Apologies for my tardiness in a different location, as y'all can notice. So it took a little minute to get logged on. But yeah, Charity Blackwell here. I am 1/4 of this amazing collective. Keep the mic on. My night's called Keep the Mic On Art Therapy Edition. My night really focuses on bringing on artists who use their art, whatever that is, whether it's poetry, although that's definitely my main focus. We've had a plethora of different artists come through, but use their art as a way to provide healing, whether that's for themselves and or others. And it's just been an amazing opportunity. And I've been introduced with so many artists through not only my night and people coming on because they felt impelled and empowered to share about their art and how it's been therapeutic for them, and also learn new healing and therapeutic techniques for others through art, but also just being introduced to other poets by the other amazing hosts that are a part of the show. I think that's one thing that I think has been extremely valuable. We all are artists. We're all spoken word artists. However, we have our own audiences. We have our own different spaces and different connections and different networks. So one of the things that I think has just been really awesome has been, and is that the question y'all were
The question is like your biggest takeaway from this last year. Yes.
Yeah, that's my biggest takeaway. Is just like networking is huge. Networking is huge, and collaboration is huge. If anything, I think COVID has taught us the importance of like sticking together and trying to be creative to be creative. It just what is normal to us one day may not be normal to us the next day. So we can't just pout around and be like, oh, we don't have any more open mics happening right now. We can't do in person anymore. What can we do? What can we work with, and how can we still network? And we turn lemons into lemonade. And I think that this has shown me, my biggest takeaway is just the importance of keeping a creative and positive energy when you're trying to be strategic about how to pivot in unforeseen circumstances. And the amount of new poets I've been introduced to through this platform has just been crazy. And also just the importance of also having more creative and different platforms to talk to artists is my biggest takeaway, because getting up on stage and just doing an open mic set for 30 minutes, 25, 30 minutes, you learn a lot about someone through their poetry, but then actually getting to sit down and talk about their book that they wrote and why they wrote it, talking about their what they were going through when they was writing these different poems. So I had a lot of big takeaways, and so I probably supposed to keep that short, but those are my biggest takeaways from Keep the Mic On experiences. So I'm gonna bounce it back to whoever's bouncing it back to.
Kaniki, it is your question, and no, it was a good answer, but that's true. You don't really get the opportunity, even after you've listened to somebody feature for 15 to 30 minutes, however long the feature is, to really say, okay, let's talk about the behind the scenes.
And you have questions. I know there's been so many features at Busboys now. And after they do a poem, like, damn, like, what inspired that? Or what book do you have where I can read that and actually listen again, and not even from your voice, but like in my head, like reading it out too. So yeah. All that.
All right, Kaniki, your question. Also, audience, if you have questions for us, feel free to drop them in the chat on YouTube or on Facebook. We will get it and we will answer it.
My question would be, how do you think that our audience can support us?
What? That is a fantastic question.
That is a fantastic question.
Let me be first, okay, and answer my own question. I would say, to support us, please use that Cash App that you have up here. It is the gift giving season, and we want to continue in 2022 to keep the mic on. So I'm going to say, drop us a little change. Any little bit helps. Any little bit makes it go a long way. So yes, keep the mic on Cash App. This is one way that you can support us.
That part, and
I'm gonna kick
tell a friend, and tell a friend to actually tune in, because when we say masterclass, it's a masterclass that people should actually watch. Like, tune in, watch, ask questions. I know we are a little bit separated because we're on StreamYard or Zoom or wherever we were at the point when we did the show, but there is this opportunity to still be interactive. We can see your comments. We can see all the comments.
And we look for them as well.
Questions in real time. We are happy to do that. Support that way. Come ask questions of these people that you may not have an opportunity to talk to again, or go back and watch later. Like, subscribe, share. That always helps.
And that's the one I was going to pick up on. We are on YouTube. So please like, subscribe, share, comment. Let if you don't have any money, all of that we said is free. With YouTube, it's all about the algorithms and getting, even if you are not interested in somebody we are particularly talking to, but you are vacuuming the living room floor, just turn it on for a little while. Let it play. That time counts. For us to get monetized on YouTube, we have to have so many hours of watching. So turn on something, watch it. We'll be happy. Same thing with Facebook. Just turn it on and watch it. while you're doing whatever else. Because there are always great conversations.
Absolutely, word. I would just piggyback off of what everyone said. Y'all can definitely support us with your coins.
Mm-hmm.
Those things matter, right? These platforms that we're providing, they cost money essentially, right? And so that's just the world we live in. Capitalism is a motherfucker. Mm-hmm. But with that being said, supporting us is also supporting the artists, and then sharing, liking our stuff, all of that. And I would just add on top of all of that is, even if all these artists that you see come on, even the ones that we're going to reflect and probably talk about in a little bit, support them, because I think, like what I was saying before, the thing that is really important is community building. And if you're supporting us, you're supporting artists. So when you're sharing, you're liking our stuff, if you're donating to our Cash App, you're helping us keep this platform going. You're helping us book artists. You're helping those artists that you are supporting stay relevant and keep their artistry going. So it's not just supporting us, but all those people that you've seen come through that we've introduced you to, continue to support those folks too. So that's what I would
was gonna say. All of our guests, every show, we put not just our info, but theirs.
Yes.
Follow them. Find out what they're doing. If you like them enough, follow and find out what they're doing. Go to one of their shows if they happen to be in your city, because not everybody that watches is in the same place we are.
Yep. That is true. That is true. Also, you can find us on all social media platforms at Keep the Mic On. At Keep the Mic On is our social media. If you have somebody that you would like to see feature, or you feel would make a great interview, shoot us an email at keepthemicon@gmail. We're just giving you all the varying ways that would support us.
That part.
Mm-hmm. Great question. Support isn't always just coins. I think when people think support, it's like they automatically think money. Now, money is great though.
Money is great.
Don't get it twisted.
We're happy to take the kind of money. Wait. What is it? We're happy to take the kind of money that jingles, but we'd rather have the kind that folds.
Right.
I like that little ching ching noise that the Cash App makes, because I didn't know I had my alerts on. I had my alerts off the entire time, and then one time I heard it, like the slot machine thing. I have all of my alerts turned off except that. I wake up at night, I'll be like,
the funny part is the Keep the Mic On one comes to me. The alert comes to my phone.
Yep, yes it does.
So if I forget to turn it off, I'm like, somebody sent me money. Oh wait, that's not me.
Hilarious.
All right.
Okay.
Girl Genius or Charity? Y'all two are next.
I got a question.
Okay.
So this is gonna cause a debate, so I'm gonna wait till the end to answer my own.
I want to know how Charity get her hair up in that bun. But anyway, that's
a whole other question. That's a whole separate question. We'll get there. Who has been either your favorite guest from your segment, or like in general? It might not have been your segment, but if you would answer from your segment, that'd be like, okay, that cuts the field down a little bit, because you had on the show this year.
No. You know what?
You can answer this diplomatically.
This is how you diplomatically answer that question, because I learned something from everybody that I featured this year.
That part.
Part one, flat out. I learned about expanding the platform internationally from Masterpiece. I learned about how, I love talking to Vision and the animation. I loved talking to, I have had so many awesome features this year. Like my brain is stuck. Brandon Leaks about getting on America's Got Talent. But I think the most informative feature or a special guest that I had this year, which I need to post on YouTube, and I promise to do it while we are on break, is our conversation with E-Baby, because we were talking about copywriting.
Yes.
And that was such a fantastic conversation about, copywriting your work and how to get copyrighted. So it's not that I didn't learn or get anything valuable from anybody else. I just think that because we're in a position now where we're going to monetize trying to monetize ourselves and our work, we have to make sure that our work is protected.
Okay.
And our names. So I'll say that.
True.
I'm going to backtrack on my own question now.
Mhm.
I'm gonna start with my diplomatic answer is I loved every guest that I had on this show. I
Mhm.
picked them for a reason. I wanted them here. I knew the conversation was going to be good.
I agree with that. Mhm.
But a little bias. My favorite interview from this season.
Mhm.
I kind of had a split tie between Rashi Copeland
Mm.
and Shanur.
Yes.
Because the Shanur
Everybody
one,
loves him.
Shanur's interview was so enlightening that we wanted to bring her back for another segment.
Yeah.
That was a great conversation. Like I love her as a human being in general. Like I love being around her. She's awesome people. But that that was probably my favorite one for the year. But understand that the caveat to that is everybody I had this year was
Mhm.
amazing
I agree.
and picked for a whole reason.
Mhm. Kaneki?
My most fun interview I had is with Chibi on here.
Oh, I love Chibi's interview.
So fun. And I have to say, I don't interview a lot of people who I have no idea. Well, I had an idea who Chibi was because I was helping out with SIPs and was a timekeeper, so I got to see the hosting of Chibi. But that was my first time, seeing the host. I got to see the host, but I didn't know the person. So most of the people that I interview are people that I know. I've been in the scene almost 2 decades now, so most of the people I know or know of, right? So this was like a first time encounter. So I would say most fun, right? Getting to learn so much fun that I was like, yes, I'm gonna book you. You're gonna be my feature for February for Bus Boys and Poets on live, because yeah. So did that, but I think my most informative was Sekou. Because
Yeah.
number one, I met Sekou almost 20 years ago. Have been seeing him, do. I was like, that's Sekou on the commercial on TV doing
Yep.
songs. Yeah, and I just liked his willingness. Like I was like, I understand, you're busy. This is not, we're not about to pay you nothing. And keeping in mind again the reasons we say make sure you support the artist. The reason we put up their Cash Apps and their PayPals and Venmos is because they give us this for free.
Yes.
Right.
They
So
give up
this
their
is,
time
if you
freely.
look up Sekou Andrews, you'll see why this was a big thing for me to hit him up on text and was like, hey, can you? He's like, go through my assistant. But yeah, he'll do that. And because he answered all of those questions about how he was able to do this thing and get these corporations to do these things. And I'm like, it was amazing. Like it gave hope for the poets that we can do things outside of coffee shops and little open mics where the mic does not work, where there is no mic, where there's lighting and people pay on time and right with a check. And so yeah, so it was definitely enlightening. So shout out to Sekou Andrews. Follow that brother and yeah, tell him I sent you.
Yes. Charity, any?
Oh
You
man,
don't want to choose.
this is hard.
I'm reading the comments. It's
Hard.
cracking me up.
It's like everyone said, everybody that I've interviewed, I felt like I always walk away saying, damn, that was my favorite interview. After every single one, I literally say that every single time. Because it's just the thing that, I feel like all the conversations are definitely interviews, but then at some point it just feels like it's just conversation. You just kicking it with the homie and learning like on some real down to earth shit about a lot of folks. So let's just get that out the way. That's that. But I would have to say, what I did like about this, just from like my own professional development, like I feel like my interview skills have gotten like lit since like doing this shit online, like just being in the like just in your bag with questions and like learning how to transition and like being on your game. And so I think the interview that So I had two that stood out the most. So the interview that I think that was my favorite was probably, and the one that was most personal for me was MJG Speaks. I just loved the knowledge that they provided, and just, MJ is just just kind of like the road not taken type of individual, just kind of sets their own shit, which I have a lot of respect for. And so, and then just the whole personal connection with the fact that like that was the first person that ever gave me a platform to do poetry, and having that historical knowledge going into the interview, and being able to talk and have conversations now and seeing how both of our careers have kind of changed and grown is really awesome. The interview that I would say was the most challenging and the one that taught me a lot was probably Gail Danley.
Yep.
Motherfucking Jesus. Was that interview off the damn chain? And shout out to Gail Danley, because I was so nervous going into it because I'm so used to having control. Like, you run the interview, right? But she was just throwing questions back at me. Next thing you know, she tricked me into doing a poem. I'm like, bitch, I ain't fucking getting like,
and she was trying to interview you. Like, let me ask you some questions.
Right.
Like, it was just off the chain, but I loved it though. Like, as I'm going through it, I'm like, yo, this is different. I'm so uncomfortable, but also like I feel like hella growth in the same moment. Which I think is like what it's about, you know what I mean? And so that was probably, from entertainment reasons, one of my favorite interviews, because it was just off the chain. It was fun as hell, and just watching people in the chat and y'all's faces while I was doing that shit was enjoyable. But also, Gail's a fucking legend, and so that was, I would have to say those two stood out the most. But again, being diplomatic, but just being honest, like every person, I could say I walked away from those interviews taking something from it. So yeah.
If you could have seen the background for the audience, if you guys could see the background, like we can see each other in the background of the chat. If y'all could have seen everyone's face in the background during that Gail Danley interview.
We should do some outtakes sometimes.
I think, you know what? She was one of the last ones we did on. She was one of the last ones we did on Zoom. So part of it, I don't even know that whole interview. I don't even know where that whole interview is.
Where is it? Someone let me know, because
I know that we recorded it. I'm 98% sure it's on Facebook.
Yeah, I
was gonna say it's probably
if we were posting the Facebook, it's on Facebook. Anything that was done in the last year, it's on Facebook.
You're right, because at the beginning of the year we started doing the full interviews in Zoom and streaming the Facebook.
Right.
I'll say, I would meant, Charity, you have the next question, but I will also applaud our growth in platforms and how we changed from Zoom to just streaming the Facebook to this year. Now we're on StreamYard, streaming to YouTube and Facebook. So
yeah.
I definitely like that. So that is definitely a change for this year, and I like it.
I'm gonna bring this back before you ask your question. I'm gonna bring this back to, I want to tell you that Gail Danley interview.
Mm-hmm.
But listen, I'm mad she started off with that Gail Danley.
That interview sparked the last poem that I wrote. Something she said in that interview sparked the last poem that I wrote. Though I finally got around to writing something that had been like really difficult for me for a minute. And something she said in that interview was the catalyst for that poem. And it actually starts off with me talking about that interview specifically.
Nice. And that's why that's why I really enjoy like this platform, because I've seen Dale Ganley do workshops. I've seen her feature, and I've seen her judge poetry slams. Like, I've ran into her so many different times, but then like I got a Gail that probably other people knew about, that knew I didn't know about, and they're like, oh, she about to get in. I remember Rebecca Dupas hit me up afterwards, like, yo, you handled that shit, sis. Because like, She's like, yo, Gail is off the chain. And she's like, but if you know her, you know, like, and I was like, I knew, but I didn't know. I didn't know
like that.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I remember
you have to sit with her outside of poetry events.
My mom texted me during that interview because my mom is like our biggest fan, right? She's always like, looking at us, whatever. So she's like, what is happening? What is what is happening?
We did not know either.
Gail didn't answer none of my questions.
She flipped them. She didn't.
She did. She flipped them motherfuckers. Like, it was just like everything she asked. It was just. Charity, what do you think?
Because Charity was like, so how do you craft your poem? She was like, so Charity, how do you craft your poem?
Right.
And then Charity was like, well, I craft my poems. And then Charity like, wait, we was talking about how you craft your poems. Like,
right. She bamboozled me. She interviewed me that time. Like, I was like, but it was definitely like a learning opportunity, but it was so awesome, yo. Like I was so just blown away by how off the chain she is, because like I remember at some point she just talked, and whatever I asked her, that was long gone, and then it'd be like 20 minutes later, she's like, all right, what's your next question? Like, wait, I don't even know where we're at anymore. Like, so yeah, shout out to Gail Danley. All right, so my question,
don't ask us something hard. I already know.
I don't want to ask something hard. But I also want to ask something super surface. I guess now that we've been at this for over a year. We'll be next May will be 2 years.
March.
March. Yeah, dang. Next March will be 2 years. From all y'all, in your best case scenario, in your perfect world, your vision for Keep the Mic On, let's say 3 years from now, what does that look like? What does that feel like? What does that sound like? Because there's been so like substantial growth so far, right? Like we're talking about just where we started, the platform. We went from motherfuckers Zoom bombing our shit, putting weird stuff on screens and us having to shut down, to like now, we got StreamYard. We've interviewed people that we've never imagined interviewing before. So like it can only get better. It can only go up from now. So for people out there listening that are going to keep tuning in and being a part of this journey, what is it that they can expect, or what is the goal? What's the vision moving forward? What's the thought on that? Just not too deep or surface with their,
Oh, okay. Well, you go ahead. Unmute.
You'll answer that, and we'll go into because it leads into the question that's in the chat too.
Okay. Since we are a women-led artistic experience, in 3 to 5 years, I want us on WeTV. I want us to have a weekly, like even if we're recording Sunday and they upload it on Thursday, I want us to be on national TV.
That's nice. Yeah, I like that idea, because I know I was gonna say when we were interviewing Georgia Me, she was looking into starting her own station. So she was like, and then when you start your own station, then we can, maybe we can start from there. But I'd love WeTV. Somebody tweet to WeTV and tell them that we are here. And we're here. We on your TV. Like let us know.
We're a special niche market. We bring niche people.
That means we have in studio money and things we can do to upgrade this show.
Yeah, I definitely in the next year, like for us not to be funding this ourselves. And
agreed.
Realize that what we're giving you for free shouldn't be free. I mean, I know people, and shout out to all the people who always they donate to us. Shout out to those people. We really do appreciate you. You just don't know how you send us $15. How honey, we'll stretch that $15 out. We do it. So shout out to the people who recognize, hey, I got something for this. This shouldn't have been free. Let me pay for it. So
yeah.
Yeah, I'd much rather watch this on WeTV than reruns of Law and Order.
It's on right now.
Listen, I gotta tell you
right now on my TV on mute. It's on.
Wait.
Law and Order.
Wait. Can I tell y'all a joke about this too? So I was getting ready to say the wrong thing. So I have to correct myself here. So in my household, we call Law and Order "Fix the Goddamn Light." Because if you ever watch the show at the very end, the end montage, one of the lights is always out because they used to say montage over and over.
Oh my gosh. Only you and your wife would notice that.
No. I saw this in a meme somewhere and I had never noticed it before. And so now I can't unsee it. So I've like freestyled the entire theme song over top of the Law and Order theme song to fix the goddamn light. And when I started the last sentence, when I was like, yeah, WeTV should watch, I'd rather watch this than fix the goddamn light, it was about to come out wrong. So I was like, let me just explain the joke first so y'all don't think I'm nuts.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I love it. I think that like I hear everything that everyone's saying, and we'll go a little bit more into the future of Keep the Mic On, but I definitely see such a huge like area of growth. I don't see anybody else doing this, which I think is what makes it special. I see a lot of people do like interviews and stuff, but I don't see like this type of connection, this type of network, this type of community that's been built around this space, which I think is very, very sacred and very special. So, I mean, I think that's one, what Kaniki said is right on the nail. And Danielle's like, just getting, whether that's through grants or somebody hits the jackpot or whatever, but just finding a way to like, or monetizing it, however that works. But once that that money comes in, which is like important for artists, and it's important for platforms to keep going, is like the biggest thing, and as we grow.
It would be great to just buy the products of the people, you know what I'm saying? Because, like you have an event coming up, let us sponsor somebody, you're in here free from Keep the Mic On, something, you know what I'm saying? Support you, that would be a wonderful thing.
I mean, as it is, I'm in here building my damn library because of the show. I'm literally building my library because of the show. Why should I be the only one?
I have, and can we talk about our segments and how we came up with each segment and why we chose those things and talk about them, because let's talk about all the four, what you get from the whole week.
Good point. Since we are here for the first, since if you're just here for the first time and you're like, who are these four women talking and what is it they do?
Right.
Again, I am Simply Sherry. My segment is called From Behind the Microphone, which was a written blog that I used to do for features of my events. And the tagline is From Behind the Microphone. It's time to get to know the person behind the poem, get to know the person behind the poet. Get to know the poet behind, because we're people too. And I think some people get Sherry mixed up with the poet that is Simply Sherry. Granted, we share a lot of DNA, but there's stuff that I may talk about in my private life that I would never bring to the stage. So that's what I want to meet. So that's what From Behind the Microphone is. It's just time for us to get to know the person behind the stage. There are other interests. It's like a first date. You get to first date with all of our poets that I interview.
Fantastic.
I love it.
Danielle, who's next?
I picked, okay, so I am, my segment is Let's Talk About the Book. I said this up front, I want to talk about more than books, but I chose books specifically because I'm a bibliophile. I have a stack of books over here. I have an entire bookshelf that used to be kind of halfway in frame, but not anymore since I moved my office. But I am particularly proud of my collection of poetry books. Because as much as I can, I try to support other artists, especially like when I know like I might never see these works again. Or they're very limited edition runs, or, I run into somebody I may not see again for a while. Here's a book. I love books. Okay. And I'm also a writer by profession. So I know a lot of the technical stuff about process and things like that, but I also know that that stuff looks completely different for me than it does for anybody else. And because of those two things, the questions I always get from people are, how do you do this? How do you start? And what does this look like? Or what is it supposed to look like? And I always have to tell people it doesn't look the same for everybody. So I took that and ran with it for my segment where I'm literally asking people like, what does your writing brain look like?
Mm-hmm.
Not just about the book itself, but what did it take to get you there?
Right.
A solid product in your hand. What did it take to get you there? And I want to do that now with, like I said, more than books. Like I would love to have a visual artist here to go, what did it take to get from this vision in your brain to look at this canvas that's now sitting in the Museum of Art? Like, what did it take to get you there? Like, I would love to do a little bit more because those are things I don't necessarily know about. I can tell you all the technical stuff in the world about writing in books, but maybe there's some things I don't know at this point, So I am very much looking forward to going into 2022 and digging into things other than books, but I'm going to keep it based at books.
Word.
Okay. You said word, so it's your turn.
Word, yeah. So
don't mind me. Also, the French Fry Fairy showed up. So
I think we answered the question. The question is what our segment is, right? And why?
Yeah, why did you choose that? Why did you choose that?
Hey everyone, my name is Charity Blackwell. My segment that I chose was called "Keep the Mic On" Art Therapy Edition. I chose it because personally, for me, even taking poetry serious, doing it, if anyone was a part of the MJG interview, you kind of got an idea of like how I even ran into like poetry and spoken word spaces and what really attracted me to them. MJG had her open mic every other Tuesday called Spoken Word Poetry, and it was a free open mic. It was out in the fucking cut in over off Georgia Avenue. Like it was just like a I don't want to say hole in the wall, but it felt like mom and pop's kind of black backyard kick out kind of vibe. It wasn't like super, flashy. It was just a whole vibe, you know what I'm saying? And I just lost my mother. My dad wasn't doing the best. I was honestly just looking to hear some poetry, and I wasn't expecting anything deep or anything like life changing. But I just remember going into that space and hearing and not even performing, literally just going just to listen and just hearing so many people pour out their selves into the stage and talk about things. These people don't even know shit about me, but it felt like they're talking about my life. That's how me and MJG became so connected, outside of them being a Scorpio, because Scorpios rule. But because they are, they're freestyle poet, a successful freestyle poet. I've seen a lot of freestyle poets, and they're one of very few that I see that can get up on stage and just go and
do it well.
Do it well.
Do it quite well.
Well, very well. And every time they got up there, like I'm like, do you know me? Like, did you pick up my phone somewhere? You go through my text messages, my email, something? Like, did someone tell you something? Because I always felt super connected. And it provided so much healing for me. And so not only just listening to folks and their stories through art, but which felt comfortable, because sometimes people want to sit down and talk to you and make you talk about shit. And it's just like art takes away that awkward barrier. And so going into a place just willy-nilly and then walking out with more than you even anticipated going out with, and then now getting the courage to get out and receive, but also give yourself in that space. It made me very interested in other people's journeys in art and how it's been healing and therapeutic for them, because ever since that moment, MJ gave me my first feature at Spoken Word Poetry. I'll never forget that. That shit was packed the fuck out. I was nervous as hell. But ever since that moment, like, then I got booked for another feature, then another feature. Then pages hit me up. Hey, you want to host that Busboys and Poets? Like, and that's just how like everything really started. But outside of anything, the success and all that stuff was really good. But most importantly, that opened up a door for me to continue to have these healing spaces and be a part of those healing spaces and leverage those healing spaces in a way I would never probably been even able to do without that that space being available in the first place. So shout out to MJ. I always have mad respect for them. But that's why I do art therapy. I just want to talk with folks and pick their brains on how that's been helpful for them in their healing journey. So word. I'm ending on word.
On word. Okay. So I chose but let me just first say, when we had our meeting to start Keep the Mic On, we still kind of talk about who created the word keep the mic on, but we was like, we got to keep the mic on, y'all, because you know why? Because it's a pandemic and we got to be out here. We can't let the art die. And then we was like, yes, it's going to be called Keep the Mic On. But we all chose different segments. So therefore, if we ever want to venture off and do something for ourselves, we still can have our own platform and take it with us. So we came together as a group, but we also have different segments, and then we can still venture off at any time if we wanted to do much stuff, and we can always come back home. That's all I gotta say. So I chose poets and platforms, obviously, because I'm a poet who has. Last night I was my good friend, the hip hop mama, was saying Kanik, she was introducing me, and she was like, Kaniki does 50-11 things, and I thought about it when I was on the way home, and I was like, I do many things, right? I'm always doing events. So, and it takes a lot. The reason I started a platform of poetry, number one, I wanted to start my own open mic because I didn't like the way that a lot of hosts would skip over people. I didn't like that. And I was like, I'm going to start. That's why if you ever see me host, I go straight down the list. Whatever number you sign up, that's when I call you up, because I don't think that, you know, and then, I mean, if you are my friend, you can like hit me up. You know, Charity might be like, Kaneki, I'm coming through tonight. I said, cool, I'll write your name on the list. I will do that. But what I'm not going to do is skip. I'm not going to call you, oh, Charity's in the building, so I'm going to skip over all the other people and put them on. I don't like that, because you're missing out on talent. You don't know what this person has to say. You don't know what they're going through. They might need this for their life, because people use now. Poetry is not therapy, but it's very therapeutic. So I definitely don't want to skip over anybody's art. So that's why I started doing open mics. But as artists, a lot of times, especially as poets, the reason I chose poets and platforms, because as poets, a lot of times people don't quite know how to do this you know, platform thing. They don't know how to call us up. They don't do us right. It takes a lot. So sometimes as poets, you have to start the platforms to represent the art well. And it takes a lot of work. And then I want to, you know, interview people who they start these platforms, and other poets want to do that, but they don't know how. Right. And it's an opportunity for them to speak to the person who's had these higher, like, you know, like Georgia Me, who, you know, has a festival named after her. It's been there for a decade. You know what I'm saying? Like, how do you do that? How do you do a weekend or now a week of poetry and art? Like, how do you do those things? So this was a thought on, you know, how to be an organizer. I definitely wanted to put that out, because you have to be organized.
Definitely.
Organizer. But that's a whole nother story.
May I also shout out the fact that was also, may I shout out the fact that that was also an amazing interview.
Yes, Georgia Me was an amazing interview. Well, we're going to take this time, and we're also going to kind of pull in Asha's question, and we want to thank you for it. Her question is, what are your personal and professional goals 2020 collectively and as an individual?
Oh, wow.
But at this point, we're going to talk about the collective, because all of us are sad and we're going to cry.
Oh my God.
I'm not going to cry. I already cried. I cried before I died.
No,
I got tears.
No, I don't gangster cry. Okay,
we're not gonna gangster cry. Okay. I'll hold it back. But coming into 2022, one of the starting members of the collective will not be with us, and we understand. But we want to take this moment and give a ton of love and a ton of thank yous to Charity.
Jerry, the one who's put her foot down and said, let's do this thing. Can we have a meeting tonight? What's up? The one who started it all, who kickstarted us all. You will see Charity
I appreciate y'all.
You will see her on your TV. Charity is a woman she has not many hats. she has a buffet of things that's going on. So we're gonna have
she's worn on
to.
the show.
Yeah, we're gonna have to.
She's a buffet of hats, and that's some of which she's worn on the show.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, you
Oh my
do.
goodness.
So yes, so sometimes you have to look at your plate and you have to say, this is what I'm doing, and sometimes y'all, even doesn't matter how much you like doing a thing. Sometimes you don't have the capacity to do those things, and you have to move on, individually, which is great. So we're very proud of Charity and all the many things that she has going on, and with her and her pretty face. So
I appreciate y'all, yo. I really do. And it's like, and it's all about, we started this stuff together, but that don't mean it's over. Like, I'm always still gonna be around. I'm always gonna be supporting. But as many folks out there may know, like, I got hella shit going on right now, and I'm not a person that likes to half-ass and bullshit stuff. So I just think that, as a collective and being a part of a team, is just right to make sure that, we can make that whoever's in my place can pull their weight and make sure that they have the time and the capacity to give this show what it deserves. And so going into the new year, I think this is the best time to be, conscientious of what I know is going to be on my plate in the future. As things are opening back up, with things that are opening back up with Busboys and Poets, with my new job title at my organization and different things just happening. I don't want to set myself up for a shit show. So with that being said, this has been nothing but a beautiful journey. All I can say is, like, when we first started, COVID was like a really, like, no one knew what was happening. No one knew when things were going. Like, we were really, like, right now it feels so better and different because we're out and moving. But there was a time when it was like, we don't know when we're going back to work.
Right.
Yeah.
We're going back to work. We don't know if we're going to hit a stage back to hitting the stage again. We don't know what that's going to look like. And so this space for me personally has been more than just coming together with these wonderful women and creating an awesome platform. This has been a space for healing. We've sometimes, y'all don't know, when we get off this shit, sometimes we be on this like an hour extra.
Later. Yes.
Still talking.
Just talk about whatever. They got stuff to do with the show, stuff they ain't got shit to do with the show. Like, so we are really friends outside of this. So, it's bigger than just that. And so, I'm just really happy to have been a part of it for as long as I have. And I know that they've just been nothing but supportive for my journey moving forward. And just know that I will continue to be supportive with y'all's journey moving forward. And I still work with all y'all, period. So y'all gonna see.
You still do.
Yeah, so you still do.
I'm using this.
I work with Terry on my job.
You know what I'm saying? So
Kaniki just said
Charity's our boss. Okay, Charity is our boss.
No, it's like,
wait, no. Kaniki, Charity is kidding. Charity is my boss twice.
2 times. Yes, 2 times.
Yeah. Charity's your boss 2 times. Charity ain't the boss of me. Charity ain't the boss of me.
The only person she's not the boss of is Danielle Girl G. That's it.
Well, let me give this comment out loud. Asha says, Charity's segment got me through my father's passing. Her guest prepared me, so I am so grateful.
Wow. And that's the shit that, oh my goodness. Now I'm about to, like, I thought I was prepared for this. Now that's gonna get me like choked up, because that's what it's that's what it's all about, yo. Like, it's whether that's
Kaniki nailed it. She said, when we started these, when we were talking about the platform, our different segments, when we started these segments, it was so we could separate and then come back.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
and you're always welcome. You were always welcome.
And when I called you,
we still got whenever you want to come in, and you got something you want to talk about, bring it back.
Just let us know. We'll let you in.
I appreciate y'all. I really do.
And I know y'all are wondering who we may have discussed being our fourth coming into the future. Guess what? You're going to have to wait until January.
That's right. That's why you're
going to have to wait until January, and we will introduce you to our new host member.
But in the meantime,
I do believe we made a pretty solid,
a pretty solid choice.
Yeah.
But for
I
now,
ain't
we're
mad at
bringing in our semi-secret male member, part of the backbone of Keep the Mic On. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Analysis.
What's
Y'all
up? What's up? What's up?
Y'all might have seen him do a guest interview with us this year, this fall, when we interviewed Georgia Me. So, Analysis, do you have any questions for the collective?
Questions for the collective. I mean, you all have touched on some great things already, and some foundational things. And before any questions, I should just say congratulations to you on another year.
Thank you, good
You've gotten
sir.
more known. You as you've talked about, have attracted 5-star people to be on the show, and people that want to be on it. And as you touched on a little bit, since this is volunteer time, that's no easy thing to do. But the fact that everybody has come on wanting to do it, happy to do it, enthusiastic to do it, and to do it gratis, to do it for free, speaks of what you all have established, and it speaks of you all as individuals and as a team. And that's that's an awesome thing, because you don't have that all the time out there in this world. So my props to you. As you all have talked about, it's true for me also. All of you are individual friends and colleagues. But the fact that you all been able to put this together has been really, really special, and I enjoy, being a part of it in this way and that way, in shadow ways, and a different type of shadow work, and being able to support it. And of course, it provides me with the fun of coming up with silly little word plays and witticisms every week based on whoever's the interviewee of that week. So if nobody has ever checked it out, just go to my Instagram and you will find some stupid little silly wordplay based on whoever's being interviewed in the week. It's tough sometimes, but my silliness knows no bounds. And so I'll come up with something every week. That's fun. I'm wondering, there's only so much time in an interview, and you all pack so much into each interview. You can't talk about it all. It's just impossible. You all have already talked about the need for bringing, a number of people back for a second interview, because you can't get it all done at one time. But are there questions that, as you look back on it, just burn at you in terms of, I really wish I asked so-and-so this? I really, we forgot to touch on X, Y, and Z with so-and-so, and I'm wondering if that gnaws at you or not,
Nope.
It doesn't. It doesn't gnaw at me, but there's always something that I feel that I have forgotten. Even if I have a bullet point list of things I want to make sure that I touch on with an artist, I always feel there's something else I could have asked, and but I don't let it gnaw on me.
Yeah,
I don't feel that.
I don't.
I don't feel that way.
I always. Go ahead, Danielle. No, you go.
No, go ahead.
I always, of course, have a list of questions that I want to ask, right? And I always make it through all of those. But you know how sometimes when you're interviewing, something that they say make you ask something else. So I try to make sure that I'm finished. I'm definitely, I've asked all of my questions. I go back to make sure that I ask the questions. And I do before, I don't know how we all do things differently. Before I before I set up my questions that I'm going to ask them, I always ask them, is it something you want to talk about? And it's something that is some things you don't want to talk. Is anything off limits that you don't want to talk about? And then is there something you definitely want me to touch on in this interview? So I make sure that the interview is worthwhile for them, because again, they're doing this for free. So if they have something that they want to promote, they want to specifically touch on, I want to make sure that I'm touching on those things for them, so they're satisfied with the interview as well.
Yeah.
You're the reason, Nikki, that I added that question in, because I used to not do that. I now whenever I ask someone to be a guest, I make it a point to be upfront about, is there something you don't want me to talk about, or do? But the reason why my questions don't gnaw at me is because I don't know if some of y'all know this. So as a writer, before I was a writer. I was I came into it with a journalism background. So I don't ever, like, even though I have a set of questions, I never actually use the entire set of questions, like, ever. Like, I go where the conversation goes. So I feel like if the conversation goes that direction, then that was the question I was supposed to ask.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
Respect for all of that, because I know I can probably speak. Let me represent the interviewees on the series. I mean, it's so much fun that there's so much more. I know for mine, it's like, oh, we need another half hour. We ain't touched on this. I can't believe we hadn't talked about it, because it's so much fun and there's so much to talk about that you'll never get it in. You know, I'm sure there are plenty of the interviewees that are like, oh, that was awesome. I wanted to talk about so forth and so on. And that's, you know, again, that's to the credit of the platform that it is so interesting and engaging that I know us as interviewees probably all walked away thinking, oh, I could have been on there for 20 more minutes.
Because we just be talking. Yeah, definitely. And let me say before we let analysis go, thank you so much for supporting us through all of this. You know, I see sometimes analysis has posted it on social. I see it scrolling down his social media. I'm like, oh yeah, we are interviewing Sunday. Let me post this. Like,
like he'll do that
I'm doing. So definitely, this is why we call him our solid male member, because he is, you know, he is like the best supporter, sharing the interview. I'm sure we got plenty of followers just from him, and this man is magnificent. So make sure that you follow him as well. He does things all over the country virtually.
And one thing we love to do is also give updates on our previous features. So since he is here, this was our May roundtable interview, and he just released a new CD November 18th called A Couple of Thousand Years Later. Please reach out on Bandcamp. Analysis, please drop the link to where people can get that 83 minutes of poetry. Wow. And yes, that you released. So we definitely want to shout you out for that. We also want to shout out B. Sharice Moore this year, getting her 2-book deal that she just announced.
Nice.
So we will.
Yes, can I shout out Dasha Kelly, who was, when we interviewed her, who was the poet laureate of her city. Now she's the poet laureate of the state.
Wow.
Yes.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So we want to keep everybody. It's like, I think, and we try to keep up on the news.
Oh yeah, and Roscoe, who we interviewed him when he had just got tell me the name of the
poet laureate of Richmond, right?
No, he's the poet laureate of Richmond. So it's so much.
And somebody else had a big one. I can't remember.
Oh yeah, Kim B. Miller. Kim B. Miller is the poet laureate.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
we had some people on here, and
we done had some people.
Yeah.
So tonight will be one of our shorter shows because it's just our year-end in review. What was I getting ready to say? What was I getting ready to say? I lost my phone.
Did we have Megan on here this year?
Megan Rickman, yes, just graduated. No, yes, Megan was on charity.
Yes, and she just graduated and she just finished. She just got her degree.
Nice.
Like today or yesterday.
Yesterday.
Yep, yesterday.
And we had Miss Dupas on here, right?
Yes, doctor.
And Dr. Dupas got some type of reward in Baltimore or some shit.
Yes, she is the Baltimore legend.
Yeah.
Her and
the Truth got poet of the year or something.
Yeah,
they both got Baltimore Crown Awards. Yes.
Listen, if y'all don't know who we talking about, go look through our YouTube and check it out, because everybody that we're naming, we have interviewed. So
yes, and we
shout out to Simply Sherry, who won a DMV Renaissance Award.
Ooh,
hey, Jakarta. Who won a
I won a
DMV Renaissance Award. So. Yeah, everyone, the first thing I'm going to say is that we're going to, because this was just our end of the year roundtable, we're not going to go our normal 90 minutes. So we're going to start wrapping up. First thing I'm going to say again, charity.
Oh man,
we love you.
I'm going to be up the street, y'all.
Thank you for all that. I'll probably see you Tuesday. But thank you for all that you do. Thank you for bringing all that you brought to the platform. We will be back in this space. We are taking our yearly holiday break. We will be back January 19th, which are from the behind the microphone.
Yeah.
Our feature will be Miss Cayenne.
Yes.
Yes.
So come back, follow us on all of our social media to keep up with you, because we definitely have some phenomenal features planned so far for 2022.
I believe we are partially booked into like the summer at this point.
Some of us are. I think I'm booked to the spring. We have an amazing January roundtable that should be confirming soon. We have so much coming up.
Oh yeah.
And y'all, I don't even know who
I was like,
it
who are we
is.
talking? Oh yeah, I know
Y'all
who it
make
is.
sure y'all come back, because I don't even know who it is.
Come back January 19th, and we will definitely give y'all. And also, because we know things, we'll start giving you sneak peeks and previews probably around the beginning of January.
All right. I like
So
that.
everyone, as we always end our show, please stay safe. Wash your hands. Have a happy holiday. Huh?
I said, please.
Have a
Wear your
safe and
mask.
happy and healthy holiday season. And we will see you back here in 2022.
Merry Christmas, Kwanzaa.
Love y'all. Happy holidays. Whatever you celebrate.
Did you say Merry Christmas, Kwanzaa?
Merry Christmas, Kwanzaa.
Merry Christmas.
And Happy New Year. We'll see y'all in 2022.
Happy
Merry New Year.
Bye. Merry New Year.
It's real.
Peace.